So you're advancing on the table. Incoming autocannon fire, incoming long-range missile fire, or you're moving ahead on the hex map. And as we close, right now we're looking at heavy and assault mechs. We're going to put aside mediums and light for a moment. As you approach, you are now 6 or 7 hexes away. I define this as danger close. Now you're locked in. Now you have committed. And we're looking at one mech versus one mech. As we move closer, 5 hexes, 4 hexes, 3 hexes, 2 hexes, what we begin to see with heavy and assault class mechs is that the majority of their weapon systems, those medium lasers, those autocannon 20s, the short-range missile packs, the bulk of them are in the left-right torso, the arms, maybe even a head. That's now facing your opponent. And we're now both shooting at each other, and it's kind of a question of who's going to break first. The challenge here with this danger close definition, you need to know when you're locking into that, and you need to control when you're locking into that, because once we've done that, I need to keep my mech, my torso squared off against your torso. There's the most armor there, but there's also the most weapons to bring to bear. If I break away and if I pull off, if I start taking a lot of damage, you break through 2 internals, it is hard. It's not impossible. It's hard to break away and withdraw because I'm going to try to stay facing you. If I completely turn around and run away, you're going to have rear armor. And at danger close like that, rear armor, that's a big problem because the majority of your weapons, again, are going to be able to shoot. If I backpedal, if I walk, at least I'm still shooting. But if you have the advantage, you've broken through to my internals, you have the advantage, you're going to be able to press that moving ahead. There's also, at the heavier weight classes, physical attacks, kicking and punching. And that becomes, danger close becomes doubly magnified if you're facing certain mechs, like a Battlemaster. I'm not going to be shooting Battlemaster stock. I'm not going to be shooting the PPC, but I'm going to be moving up, get to 1 hex away, do the medium lasers, do the SRM pack, and then punch, punch, kick. I'd headbutt you too if I could. So a lot of damage moving on there, knowing when to commit with danger close. Now, medium mechs, this idea of really closing danger close, we don't want that to happen as much with going against heavy and assault mechs simply because you're absolutely outclassed. Medium mechs can disengage from this scenario if they have to, simply because they're a little bit quicker. They've got the jump jets. They've got some other possibilities. Although if it's a medium mech versus a medium mech, even though it's less armor, even though it's less weapon output, for the most part they're equally matched. It's the same thing. Light mechs, danger close, I find that doesn't happen even if you try to force that. So if I've got a Jenner and you've got a Locust, actually we should switch that because I love the Locust. We go close to close. I actually really don't want to go close to close with a Jenner, but maybe I do because I want to get those machine guns or the variant with the short-range missiles, which is my preferred variant. I want to use that, but I can easily run away on there. And even if you keep up with me, I can stack so many modifiers where if I stack enough movement modifiers, plus you're running, plus at least if I can stay at medium range, you're going to need 10s, 11s, 12s to hit me on there. So knowing when to lock in to this danger close. When do we lock in? You want to make sure you not only have the initiative, which you really can't control that much, but you can build in some padding by having what I call initiative sinks. And now this is where we hit up with some house rules. This is where there's some modifications, and that's great if your gaming group wants to play that. But in my opinion, this is one of the reasons why you take like 2 or 3 infantry stands. And if I have the points, we'll mechanize them up, usually in a Karnov. We're not going to turn this into an infantry podcast, vlog, but the background is important. I'll put infantry in a Karnov. Now I've got a vehicle for harassment. I've got a great spotter unit. I've got initiative sinks when they get out on there. A lot of options. If I don't have the Karnov and I want to spend a little more points, I'll go with the Goblin. If I really need to go budget, I'll just go with 2 stands, jump infantry. If you build in the initiative sinks, and you could do this with light mechs, where you take maybe 2 really, really low-cost budget light mechs. Now what this means is even if you lose initiative, you can still burn the initiative on the infantry or the light mechs. Move them somewhere or don't move them. This will force your opponent, when you're locked into that danger close position, for them to move first. This is also why in Battletech, for many of us, if the initiative track is about equal, meaning literally I have 4 mechs and you have 4 mechs, I will look to, before I close into danger close with my lance, I will try to focus fire, I will try to take a crippling shot, I will try to chase after your lightest, most easiest destroyed asset on the table, because in Battletech, if you're equal in the initiative track and you lose a unit or 2, that shifts the momentum of the game massively. So I need to either have the initiative sinks, or going in, if we're equal match, catch you, take out that light mech, take out your Jenner, take out your Wasp, maybe get lucky, take out your Shadowhawk. Now we can close to danger close. This also stacks really well with a bodyguard mech. So a bodyguard mech, in my understanding, is usually a medium mech. Perfect example, Hunchback. And it's not because it has AC-20. You guys know I love the AC-20. I'd be doing like a variant with like 3 AC-20s. Left side, right torso, center torso. I only need like 2 or 3 shots each on there. I'm sure somebody could build that in Mega Mech, but call it the Fritz cannon. Bodyguard mech goes in. Let's look at the Hunchback. It hangs back 2 or 3 hexes from your assault mech going in. So maybe I've got my Battlemaster going in, and I've got my Hunchback going in with it. The Battlemaster locks into danger close with, your Stalker, your Atlas. Not that I want to go against something higher or stronger, but in that case I could. And now that we've locked initiative to initiative, if you've lost the initiative sync, then that's going to allow me, I'm going to move that Hunchback last. And there's really not much you can do about it. The best you can do about it terrain-wise is maybe back up to the edge of the hex map, or possibly back up and put your back against a building on there, or maybe kind of enter some woods and get me to go there. But a bodyguard mech is one that walks with your main mech, and then as soon as that heavy or assault becomes locked danger close, the medium mech literally runs around to the behind of that heavy or assault mech that's locked in, or it's going to get side, or it's going to go up in tandem and punch on there. So it works in tandem on there, and with the initiative sync and with the danger close, very, very potent. So for your next game, for those of you new to Battletech, sometimes you have to commit, and it's not optimal. Sometimes the mission forces you to commit. Other times, look, you roll the dice in Battletech, interesting stuff happens. There are times where I'm advancing with my lance, I'm advancing with my ground units, and like the last game, a Wolverine, I got a lucky headshot, blew its head right off. And the Wolverine was kind of advancing, laying down some cover, but the Wolverine, my opponent's Wolverine, was also protecting some missile carriers on a hill. So I had a plan to kind of dance around a little bit, run some interference, looking to commit. But as soon as I headshotted that Wolverine, no tactics on my part, just absolute lucky shot, great dice, fabulous stuff going on. That now meant for one turn, I had the possibility to sweep up that turn, run up there with some lights and mediums, take out those carriers. Complete shift in battle plans. I'm not ready for it. I'm not set up. But sometimes the mission initiative switches where you have an opportunity, and it is a gamble. It is a risk, but you got to take it. So sometimes that happens in Battletech. But ideally, we're positioning, we're waiting, and then we are committing to danger close as best we can on our terms.